Some days just go sideways. Deadlines are piling up, you might have travel plans that have thrown your schedule completely out of whack, and you might just feel completely overwhelmed. That just happened to me, and that's why I built the Emergency Productivity Toolkit. Think of it like assembling your own productivity sandwich. We start with the base layer, we add some filling, and then we finish it up with the toppings. First tool in our toolbox is pretty simple. It's called Emergency Minimalism, and all we're gonna do is go to our laptops. In this case, I have my main tasks on my laptop, or to your notebook where you have all your tasks, and effectively pick only about 2 or 3 different tasks. And what this will do is get you down to a very small amount of must-do items. So this way, we're following a couple different methods. So this goes into Eat That Frog, or methodologies from the bento method, where effectively you want 1 large task, 1 medium task, and 1 small task. Now, all of these are highly customizable, so you could add in more tasks in there, but I recommend keeping it to something like that. We don't want to get overwhelmed because ultimately we're trying to transition back in. The second tool in our toolkit is pretty simple. Take a 1-minute breather, just relax, meditate, do whatever you want, stare at a wall. Whatever you do, stop thinking. Because if you're overwhelmed with too many things, you need to stop thinking. Make that brain reset. Now, if those 2 weren't enough, you can always do 2 more additional options. The first one is doing a quick gratitude journaling session. So just doing a quick gratitude flash, or it doesn't really have to be journal necessarily, but a quick flash of gratitude is all you really need to get your mind in a more positive mindset. So depending on where you are right now and why you're unable to get back to work, this can be hugely helpful. For some people, this can lead to a significant increase in productivity. And if all else fails, you should power pose for 60 seconds. Now, hear me out, okay? Power posing is pretty funny because when you think about it, you just stand in front of a mirror and just do a pose. It's one of those things where scientifically it makes a lot of sense, but in the beginning, it's always gonna feel kind of crazy. Try it out, maybe not in the middle of an office, but somewhere private. Give it a go, T-pose on people and just feel confident for 60 seconds. And when you get out of it, you're guaranteed to feel at least a little bit better. All right, so now you're on the filling part of this sandwich. Effectively, what we've done so far is figured out our mindset. Now we need the tools to keep that mindset going forward. So the first one is the Pomodoro method. Now, as much as I love the Pomodoro method, it's extremely annoying long-term for me. However, in a pinch like this, it's one of the best techniques that you can possibly use to just stay focused. So the way it works is pretty simple. You have a 25-minute work period, a 5-minute break, you rinse and repeat this about 3 more times, and then finally take a longer break of about 15 to 30 minutes. This has been proven to work remarkably well. You can use any timer you want. There's plenty of Pomodoro apps on the App Store if you want to use that, but most of all, if you do want to use a more focused app, there are tons out there that allow you to describe exactly what task you're doing. Now, the second method is pretty cool. It's just the 2-minute method. The 2-minute rule comes from last week's video, actually, where we talked about breaking things down and just getting started. And it's absolutely true in this context too. If we're just trying to get started, the best thing you can do is break down whatever task it is into a 2-minute task that you can get started with so that you can kind of gently flow into whatever it is that you're working on. And this works wonders because a 2-minute task mentally just feels very, very atomic in nature. And what I mean by that is when something feels atomic, it means it can't be broken down any further. For example, working out was my example last week, where just start with putting on your clothes. It's the smallest amount of effort that you can really do in order to get started, and it provides a perfect gateway to actually doing your task. Chances are that there's going to be a very small task that you can do in 2 minutes or less that's going to do everything that you need to get started. A good example in coding would be just to open up your IDE, open up whatever documentation you need, just getting it started and putting it up. And if you're going to be doing a lot of writing, just getting an outline started. Do something in 2 minutes and just get it over with. Now, kind of sticking with that same philosophy, microtasking is a very common method as well, where effectively what you're doing is you're breaking down tasks into smaller and smaller tasks. And this works wonders because you don't get overwhelmed with any one large task. If your project was to build something huge like a house, you're going to get overwhelmed. Where do you begin? And the best way to fix that is just to break it down. Start with just a door maybe, or the foundation. Wherever you are in the project currently, figure out what you need to do next and just keep going from there. The final tool in the filling category is going to be rapid prioritization. You want to be able to look at a task and immediately think to yourself, is this something I need to do right now? Or can I do it in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, tomorrow? Whatever it is, you need to think about it in terms of priority. So at this point, you could technically stop and subscribe, but there is more. So quickly hit that subscribe button and that like button, and let's move on, because the final piece is the toppings. And these are great because if the filling didn't work for you, the toppings are going to be what finally completes all the little holes that are going to keep you from getting productive. And these are going to be your final productivity apps and some of those little tools that you need to keep going. Now there's a couple small ones in here. Let's start with the big one. Distraction blockers. In my opinion, these play a huge role. If you're addicted to your phone or social media, distraction blockers can take care of that for you. Some of them are built in, like screen time APIs and things like that, but even outside of built-in focus modes and things like that, there are plenty of apps out there that will block apps for you and just stop you from getting really distracted. There's a couple that I use, but they're all paid, and so I ended up just never really using it, and because I'm a developer, I just made my own. And obviously, I'm not expecting you to build your own little distraction blocker, but there's plenty of them out there. Just look around, search it up on the App Store, you're gonna find a lot. The other tool that I really like to have, and I use this actually pretty much all the time, is using some kind of lo-fi beats or some kind of focus music in the background. Some people like to do white noise as well, and that totally works. Have some kind of background noise that just kind of drowns out too many of the distractions around you and of course distracting thoughts. Music has been known to play a huge role in not just productivity, but also your brain function. So you could look for free options like Lo-Fi Girl on YouTube and also Apple Music. You could go on whatever streaming platform that you use for music and find a productivity playlist, or you could always go on things like Brain FM and other more paid services, but I don't necessarily recommend that since there's plenty of services that you probably already pay for or already use that have the same things, especially YouTube because it's free. The last final little topping is going to be notification management, but if you're using focus modes on iOS, that kind of handles things for you. And I absolutely love focus modes because I can just turn off notifications or turn them on based on what I'm doing. They can be automatic, so they turn on automatically whenever I pull up a certain context, such as when I arrive at work, I get the work context automatically. When I start reading a book, I automatically get the reading context. And so this kind of context switching that's automated is really cool and really awesome to just stay in the vibe that you're trying to go for. And there you have it. Pretty much that's the whole emergency toolkit that you have for productivity. If you're in a slump or whatever it is, just get started with a couple of these tools and try to stick with this as much as you can. Once you're back into the flow of things, you can give up on some of these, but just have it in your tool chest whenever you need to get back into it. But anyways, next video is going to be pretty cool, I hope. I have some plans coming up, but yeah, subscribe and I hope to see you in the next one.